When a CEO said she was just a cleaner, this hidden millionaire revealed an incredible truth. Clara Thompson stood behind the gleaming glass doors of the conference room, the cold air biting at her fingers as she scrubbed away the fingerprints of the powerful. In that moment, her heart raced as she overheard the executive team inside. "She's just a cleaner," CEO Jessica Lane's dismissive tone cut through Clara like an unexpected winter chill. Those words echoed in her mind, a lingering insult piercing her soul. It was as if the world around her blurred, and all she could hear was the relentless beat of her heart, reminding her of every shove she'd had to endure just to keep her family afloat. Yet, in the depths of that moment, when defeat hovered dangerously close, Clara felt a fire ignite within her. Memories of long days spent scrubbing floors, scouring toilets, and cleaning windows for her children's futures surged forth. Resilience bubbled in her chest. She wouldn't let anyone define her worth based on a job title. Clara was a fighter, a survivor, and most importantly a creator. Beneath the polished surface of her cleaning uniform, she was also a talented artist, crafting beautiful home decor on the side, transforming her modest earnings into shimmering hope. As she slipped away to her tiny workshop after work, shadows danced around vibrant paint cans and threads of colorful fabric. Her designs were more than just art, they were part of her identity. But the kids? They had no idea. That's when Jenna and Kyle stumbled upon her sacred space one evening, eyes widening as they flickered over the making of magic. "Mom, this is amazing!" Kyle exclaimed, shoving his sister's shoulder as they leaned closer. Their excitement ignited something in Clara, a blend of fear and joy. Together, they hatched a plan for the upcoming community fair, a chance to showcase her creations, a hidden gem in suburban Ohio. Clara's heart swelled at the thought of sharing her work. It felt like the gateway to proving herself, to showing the world the depth of her talents. When the fair arrived, Clara's booth radiated warmth and creativity. Colorful decor filled the space, cascading like autumn leaves in the gentle breeze. Clara's heart raced as families admired her work, smiles blossoming on their faces. She found herself lost in the joy, until fate tangled her path once more. Jessica appeared, scanning the stalls. Recognition washed over her as she approached, her expression shifting from indifferent to intrigued. "Clara," Jessica said, locking eyes. The air thickened, charged with unspoken tension. This was Clara's moment. She could feel the weight of judgment pressing down, the history of assumptions threatening to steal her joy. Finding her voice, Clara introduced herself with newfound confidence. She spoke of her craft, her passion, and her determination, a woman who wasn't just a cleaner but an artist, a creator, a resilient mother juggling it all. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. As Clara poured her heart into every word, admiration flickered in Jessica's gaze. The whispers around them crackled as attention turned to their conversation, the community's judgment hanging thick like a heavy fog. Clara felt hope swell within her, yet the shadow of doubt loomed large. What would it take to break through the glass ceiling that had long held her back? Clara inhaled, poised at the brink of change, ready to paint her life anew. The fair had transformed from a simple marketplace into a canvas of possibility, a moment that could redefine her identity. Would her courage shatter the narrative others had penned for her? Standing face to face with the CEO who had belittled her hours earlier, Clara's heart thudded with urgency. The next stroke was hers to make. Clara held her breath, the air thick with anticipation. Jessica's piercing gaze bore into her, and for a heartbeat, the bustling fair melted away. Clara's pulse raced as she searched for the right words, the words that could elevate her from cleaning floors to staking a claim in her own life narrative. "Jessica," she began, voice steady despite the quiver in her heart. "My work isn't just about decorating. It's about sharing beauty, creating warmth, and inspiring others. Each sentence felt like a brushstroke adding depth to her canvas, hopes mingling with each breath. Jessica tilted her head slightly, the corners of her mouth twitching into a hint of a smile. I didn't know you had such passion behind your art. It's impressive. The flicker of admiration in her eyes sent a lamp of hope blazing in Clara's chest. The whispers around them built an atmosphere, creating an audience that thrummed with curiosity. What's your story? Jessica prompted, a genuine interest threading her voice now. Clara could hardly believe it. Here was the woman who had looked down on her, now engaged. Clara took a deep breath, the past rushing back like a tide. My kids, they're my everything. I want to show them you can rise from any circumstance, she said, glancing to where Jenna and Kyle watched, their expressions a mix of pride and disbelief. Every artwork is a piece of our journey, every design is a reflection of hope. The crowd shifted, drawn in by the undeniable connection building between them. Clara's heart thudded louder in her ears, words tumbling from her lips. I started painting when I was a child, and despite everything, I've never stopped. This fair, it's my first step. I'm here to inspire, not just to sell. Just then, Jenna piped up, her youthful enthusiasm cutting through the tension. Mom's taking us to the moon with her designs. Their laughter was infectious and a wave of warmth enveloped Clara, banishing the lingering doubts. The crowd chuckled softly, the mood lightening, shifting gears from skepticism to celebration. Jessica's expression softened further. Well, you've certainly captured my attention. What's next for you? Are you planning to take your art beyond this fair? Clara's mind raced. Could it be possible? She had always dreamed of showcasing her work online, of building a brand, of turning her passion into something monumental. I want to create a platform for other artists in similar situations. A place where we uplift one another. The ripple of reactions around them felt electric. She could see the intrigue spreading like wildfire, hearts opening to her story. Clara, Jessica said, her tone shifting to something almost sincere yet framed with reservation, I'd love to learn more. Let us connect after this. A gasp escaped Clara's lips, disbelief mingling with exhilaration as she nodded. She finally felt seen. Beyond the label of cleaner, she was becoming an artist, a visionary. Everything she had fought for was within reach, the barriers beginning to dissolve. As the evening sun dipped, casting a golden glow over her booth, Clara felt the weight of her past fading away. She could be more than a mere cleaner, she was an artist in the making, a champion of resilience. All it took was one person to see her differently. But would Jessica truly follow through? In the shadows of doubt, Clara could barely breathe. Change was so close, yet the unknown loomed. Just as she began to allow herself to hope, the reality of what might come next stirred anxiety within her. What if this moment opened doors she had only dreamed of? Or what if it led to yet another disappointment? Clara caught Jessica's eye once more, and in that electrifying glance, a new promise hung in the air, the promise of transformation, possibility, and the looming question of what steps would define her journey ahead. Would it be enough to finally break free from the shackles of her past? The evening air was filled with the sweet scent of caramel apples and popcorn. Clara stood at her booth, her heart racing as she replayed the moment with Jessica in her mind. Could she really be on the verge of something life-changing? Just the thought caused an unfamiliar warmth to spread through her veins, a mixture of excitement and uncertainty. As the crowd began to thin, Clara glanced back at Jenna and Kyle. They were animatedly chatting with a group of children, their laughter blending with the fair's music. It filled her with a profound sense of pride, but also a pinch of worry. What if she didn't find a way to make her dreams come true? What if this was just another fleeting moment, destined to fade into a forgotten memory? Jessica had promised to connect after the fair. But was it genuine? The sting of past rejection quivered at the back of her mind. Clara shook her head, dispelling those murky doubts. This was her pivotal moment. She tucked a strand of hair behind her ear, glancing at her canvases, each one telling its own story. The vivid colors echoed her journey, and she realized that her art wasn't just a reflection of her struggles, it was a lifeline. "Look at me, Mom." Jenna's voice broke through her thoughts as she waved excitedly. A nearby vendor approached, eyes wide with admiration. "Your work is incredible. How do you even come up with these ideas?" he asked, awestruck. Clara felt a blush creep into her cheeks. "It just comes to me. I guess it's the way I see the world. I want people to feel something when they look at my art." "Wow, that's deep," he replied, nodding appreciatively. "You've got a gift, and you're being humble about it. Don't sell yourself short." His enthusiasm filled her with confidence. Was this a sign? Squeezing the edges of her booth, Clara felt the pull of an opportunity whispering to her. Perhaps she needed to act, to not just wait for Jessica, but to take the lead. "Mom, can we make a painted mural at home?" Kyle's voice broke through her contemplation. His eyes sparkled with hope, and the idea shot straight to Clara's heart. "Of course," she replied, pulling him into a tight embrace. "We can make the living room into our own art gallery." As they shared a laugh, Clara noticed Jessica coming back through the crowd. Her heart fluttered. This was it. With each step, Jessica drew closer, and Clara felt the energy crackle around them. "Clara!" Jessica called, waving. "I couldn't wait any longer. I've been thinking about what you said earlier. I'd love to explore your ideas for that platform." Clara's heart skipped a beat, a surge of joy washing over her. "You really mean it?" "Absolutely," Jessica replied, her smile genuine. "I think your vision is incredible. I know some people who could help equip you." An exhilarating wave surged through Clara. This wasn't just a chance, this was a doorway opening, an invitation to dance with her dreams under the spotlight. But even as hope ignited within her, a shadow of hesitation loomed. Was she ready for this? Could she keep up with the world that danced beyond the fairground? What if the pressure became too much for her? "Listen," Jessica said, her tone earnest, "I see a spark in you, Clara. Let's make something beautiful together." The word settled around Clara, a blessing rather than a burden, yet the weight of newfound expectations pressed against her chest. With Jenna and Kyle at her side, Clara felt tension dissolve into determination. They had fought too hard to let fear stand in their way. "Let's do this," she declared, voice steady. But just as a wave of resolve washed over her, a creeping doubt spiraled back. Could she actually balance it all? The sparkle of hope clashed with uncertainty, and Clara felt herself teetering on the edge of an incredible journey. How would she manage the demands of her family while conquering this new world? As Clara stood there, the fair bustling around her, the possibilities stretched endlessly before her. Yet, a pivotal decision waited, one that could reshape her life entirely. Could she dare to leap, or would her fear hold her back? What awaited her if she took that leap? Clara inhaled deeply, relishing the sweet scent of fair candy mixed with the faint smell of paint from her booth. The excitement of Jessica's offer coursed through her veins, intertwining with her worries. Could she truly embark on this journey? It felt big, too big for her juggling act of motherhood and ambition. "Are you okay, Mom?" Kyle's innocent concern pulled Clara from her thoughts. She knelt to his level, brushing a few loose hairs behind her ear. "Absolutely, sweetheart. Just thinking about how to create our art gallery. Can it have a unicorn?" Jenna chimed in, eyes sparkling with imagination. "Of course, a magical unicorn. What colors should we use?" Clara teased, a smile breaking through her tension. "Rainbow." They shouted in unison, laughter ringing out. Clara's heart swelled with warmth. These moments reminded her what mattered most. But as she stood up and turned her gaze back to the crowd, her heart raced again as she spotted Jessica talking to a couple of people nearby. Their faces were animated, and Clara's stomach twisted nervously. What if Jessica spoke highly of her, only to extol them behind her back? "Mom, can we get corn dogs?" Kyle asked, tugging at her sleeve. The mundane request helped ground her. "Sure, let us grab some." As they walked toward the food stand, Clara could hear snippets of conversation behind her. Amazing talent, no doubt, huge potential. A rush of adrenaline coursed through her, leaving her both excited and intimidated. They could be talking about her. What if she didn't live up to the praise? What if when the spotlight hit her, she stumbled? As they reached the food stand, Clara felt her phone buzz in her pocket. She pulled it out, and her heart raced as she saw a message from Jessica. "Hey. Just talked to a couple of friends about you. They're genuinely excited to connect. Can we meet after the fair?" Clara's pulse quickened. It felt like an anchor dropped into a turbulent sea, calming her storm of doubts. This was happening, this was real. But with that excitement came the fear of the unknown. What if her art didn't resonate? What if she didn't belong in that world? "Mom, look." Jenna pointed at a nearby booth filled with dazzling handmade jewelry, its brilliance glinting in the fading sunlight. "Can we check it out?" Clara asked, intrigued. The children ushered her over, their enthusiasm infectious. Clara examined the displays, drawn to a unique bracelet adorned with colorful beads. "This one could remind us of our mural," she said, holding it up. "Can we get it?" Jenna's eyes were wide, sparkling with hope. Clara weighed the price, her heart hesitating. Could they afford it? Would it be worth it? Then she remembered Jessica's words and the promise they brought. "Okay, let us get it." As the vendor wrapped the bracelet, Clara's confidence fluttered. Could little decisions like this add up? If they could handle this, could they handle her dreams? Just as they turned to head back, she spotted Jessica approaching. Clara felt both joy and anxiety flood her senses. "Hey, Clara." Jessica greeted, her voice warm and inviting. "You got a minute?" "Absolutely," Clara replied, her stomach somersaulting. As Jessica led them aside, Clara caught sight of curious faces in the crowd. They were waiting, watching, anticipating. Clara's heart pounded. Was this the moment everything shifted? Would she step into the opportunity she dared to dream about? Or would she hesitate, halting her own wings from taking flight? The thrill of the unknown rushed through her. "I believe in you, Clara," Jessica began, her voice steady and reassuring. But just as she was about to reveal her thoughts, a loud commotion erupted nearby, drawing everyone's attention. "What is going on over there?" Kyle asked, his eyes wide with curiosity. Clara felt her heart drop. Did this moment just slip away? As the crowd surged toward the chaotic scene, one thought consumed her: what awaited her in the depths of uncertainty. Clara's pulse raced as she strained to see what had captured everyone's attention. The once festive atmosphere shifted, cheers turned to murmurs of concern. Her instinct as a mother kicked in. "Stay close to me, kids," she said, tightening her grip on their hands as they edged toward the source of the noise. The crowd swelled, people pushing forward to get a look. Clara caught glimpses of animated gestures and concerned faces. Something wasn't right. She felt a mix of anxiety and curiosity grip her. Was this related to her moment with Jessica? Suddenly, a loud shout pierced through the air, and Clara's heart sank. "Someone help!" With a determined shove from her shoulders, Clara moved toward the front. The sight that awaited her was more chaotic than she had imagined. A man lay sprawled on the ground, his face pale and contorted in pain. People crowded around him, yet no one was stepping forward to help. Fear paralyzed them, but not Clara. "Call 911. She yelled, her voice breaking through the chaos. Immediately, a teenager pulled out his phone, while another man started to check the injured man's pulse. "Mom, what is happening?" Kyle asked, his voice barely above a whisper. "Just stay together," Clara replied, her voice steady despite the fear clawing at her chest. The murmur of the crowd intensified, uncertainty spreading like wildfire. Clara could feel the eyes of many of them on her. Does anyone know CPR? A woman next to her called out, desperation lacing her voice. I do, Clara heard herself say, surprising even herself. She had taken a class once, years ago. Then do it. Came a sharp voice from the rear. Clara hesitated for just a moment, the weight of the situation pulling at her. But she rushed forward, her heart pounding. Deep breaths, she told herself, finding the rhythm of calm amidst the chaos. The crowd parted as Clara positioned herself beside the man, her hands trembling slightly but her focus sharpening. She pressed hard against his chest, counting in her mind. It felt surreal, the fluorescent lights above casting stark glows over the scene, the murmurs of the crowd muted in her ears. She was lost in a daze, concentrating on bringing life back into him. 1, 2, 3 she repeated the motion, feeling the intensity rise. A surge of adrenaline enveloped her, merging with memories of her kids, laughter, and art. If she could face this fear, maybe she could face a new opportunity too. After what felt like an eternity, she felt movement under her hands, a breath, a flutter in the man's chest. His eyes flickered open, and common amazement gripped them both. Paramedics arrived moments later, shining flares of red and blue lights into the twilight. Clara stepped back as they took over, the weight of her actions settling in. The crowd started to murmur, cheers rising as they realized the man was awake. The fear shifted to admiration. As the onlookers began to disperse, Jessica emerged from the ranks. Her eyes filled with awe. Clara, that was incredible, she breathed. Thanks, Clara replied, breathless but exhilarated. Jessica studied her for a moment, a new determination igniting in her gaze. You just showed what it means to take action. This is it, Clara. We need to talk. Your art, this moment, it's all connected. Are you ready to step forward? Clara's heart surged, carried on the tide of adrenaline and newfound courage. Ready for what? She asked, uncertainty creeping back, mingling with hope. Jessica smiled, an understanding sparkling in her eyes. To see your true potential. Before she could finish, the ground beneath Clara felt as if it shifted again. The crowd had thinned, but the world outside was heavy with possibility. Did that mean she was ready to embrace this journey? And just as she stood on the precipice of her choice, a haunting set of sirens wailed in the distance, echoing the chaos of her tumbling thoughts. What awaited her beyond this moment? Clara's chest was still tight from the fervor of the moment. As the paramedics took control, she felt the adrenaline rush begin to fade. Her children huddled closer, their wide eyes fixed on her, reflecting both fear and admiration. Kyle's hand squeezed hers, reminding her of the bond they shared in this uncertain moment. Mom, you were amazing. He whispered, awe spilling over in his voice. Yeah, Mom. You really helped that man, Lily chimed in, her voice brimming with pride. Clara smiled at her kids, the warmth of their admiration washing over her, helping to wash away the remnants of her anxiety. I didn't do it alone, she said, her voice steady. We all can help when it's needed. Jessica stepped closer, her expression a mix of pride and urgency. Clara, about what I said. There's so much more for you outside of this, I know, Clara interrupted, her breath hitching as she recognized her own quiet longing. Deep down, she had always felt there was more. The thrill of saving someone brought clarity, maybe it was time to confront her dreams and fears. But how? Jessica took a step closer, her intensity matching Clara's inner turmoil. I believe in you. You have that fire, the ability to inspire. We could make something incredible together. Clara looked down, feeling the weight of Jessica's words. What if she failed? What if she stepped out and the world rejected her aspirations? But what if, just maybe, the world embraced her? That hope flickered faintly inside. Let us talk more, Clara finally said, hesitantly meeting Jessica's gaze. I want to know what you have in mind. Before the conversation could blossom, the ringing of the sirens intensified. The paramedics had wheeled the man away, the clamor of emergency vehicles echoing through the street. The crowd around began to disperse, people returning to their lives, but Clara felt a sense of resolve solidifying within her. "Mom! Can we stay longer?" Lily chimed in, glancing back towards the stage, which was still decorated with colorful lights, now dimmed, a stark contrast to the earlier excitement. "Maybe just a little bit," Clara replied softly, wanting to cling to this moment as long as she could. She needed a moment to breathe and collect herself before diving into the unknown. They moved to a quieter area near the stage where the backdrop still shimmered under the fading lights. Clara knelt to her children's level, her heart swelling with affection and hope. "Whatever happens, I'm here for you too, okay? Just like I was for that man." They nodded, their faces alight with pride and reassurance. Suddenly, out of the corner of her eye, she noticed a woman standing alone, her expression one of uncertainty. Clara frowned and felt a tug at her heart. Perhaps that woman's story was just beginning, and her moment of fear and paralysis was holding her back, much like Clara had felt before. "Excuse me for a second," she said to her kids, heart racing anew. "I'll be right back." With a glance back towards Jessica, who nodded knowingly, Clara walked toward the woman. Each step felt heavier yet lighter. What was she doing? She was about to dive into another unknown. "Hey there," Clara said, her voice warm. "Are you okay?" The woman looked up, startled, as if she had been caught in her own world. Clara braced herself for whatever emotion surfaced. I'm not sure what to do," the woman whispered, her eyes darting. Clara smiled gently, sensing that spark in her own heart igniting again. "Let us talk about it. We can face them together." The moment expanded around her like the dawn of a new opportunity. Clara could feel her fears shifting, merging into steadily growing courage. This was it, the chance she'd been waiting for, and as she spoke with the woman, a thought emerged: what if helping others not only empowered them, but led Clara to discover her own path? What new adventures lay ahead if she just took a breath and took action? The answer echoed in her mind, igniting a fire within her that refused to dim. But an unexpected shout from the crowd broke the moment, drawing her attention. What was unfolding now? Clara turned, her heart pounding in her chest. The shout pulled her from her connection with the woman, and a sudden rush of concern filled the air. People were turning their heads, murmurs rising like a wave through the crowd. Clara instinctively looked back to Kyle and Lily, who were both on high alert, their faces furrowed in confusion. "What is going on?" Clara asked, her voice steadier than she felt. The crowd seemed to part slightly as if creating a surge of tension in the air. A tall man in a crisp suit stood at the edge of a gathering spot, hands gesturing animatedly. Clara noticed his stern expression. He was clearly upset, but there was something about him that piqued her attention. Perhaps it was the way the light reflected off his polished shoes or the fierce determination in his eyes that spoke to her own growing resolve. Suddenly, the woman beside her shifted, leaning closer to Clara. "That's Mr. Jenkins," she whispered, voice trembling slightly. "He's the CEO of the tech company downtown. I heard rumors they say he's ruthless." Clara felt a shiver run down her spine. This was a man who apparently commanded the kind of respect and fear that she found unsettling. She instinctively took a step back toward her children, wanting to create a protective barrier around them. But the pull of curiosity was strong. What could be so important that it drew this man's ire? "Listen to me," Mr. Jenkins bellowed, his voice cutting through the buzz of the crowd. "I won't stand for this. You think I'm just going to let some charity organization dictate how I run my life? This is about my future. You can't just come in here and sir," a woman's voice interjected, softer but resolute. Clara recognized her as one of the event organizers, a figure who had been upbeat and welcoming. "We just want to talk about the thousands of families who are struggling. This isn't just about you. This is about community." Mr. Jenkins sneered visibly, the lines in his forehead deepening. "Community? What do you know about community?" The only thing you all do is take and take. I built this company from the ground up. I didn't get here by listening to the likes of you. Clara's heart raced again. How was a man who clearly had so much power blind to the need around him? This was the conflict she often saw in others, a stark divide between those who only looked after their own interests and those propelled by kindness. Could she really stand by and watch? Feeling a pull inside her, Clara's mind flashed back to the woman she had just tried to comfort. Perhaps she could somehow strengthen that connection, that spark of hope she had ignited. But first, she had to know what was at stake. Lily, Kyle, she said, kneeling down. Stay close. I need to see what is happening. The children nodded, eyes wide with a mixture of fear and excitement. Clara braced herself, forcing her way into the throng. As she drew nearer, she felt the weight of Mr. Jenkins' anger pressing down on her. Determination coursed through her veins. She wasn't just a spectator anymore, she was part of this moment, ready to confront injustice. Just then, the woman from earlier stepped forward again, shaking slightly. Mr. Jenkins, what if we work together? We could invest in the future of our community. Your company could help so many more people than you realize. Jenkins' brows furrowed deeper, a look of skepticism clouding his features. Clara could feel the collective breaths of the crowd suspended in anticipation, the kind of moment that demanded courage and truth. What was this woman thinking? Would she take the leap and challenge a powerful figure? Could their call for connection pierce through his hardened heart? As Clara stood there, heart racing, she suddenly wondered if activism was more than talking, maybe it was embodying the change she wished to see. But an even louder shout erupted from the back, the crowd stirred again with chants, and Clara's eyes widened in surprise. What now? Could this gathering truly change something, or would it all fall apart under the pressure of pride and indifference? The shouts from the back ripped through the crowd like a thunderclap. Clara turned, her instincts kicking in. She saw a group of people with handmade signs, their voices rising in furious unity. They were determined and loud, chanting for equality, for compassion, for community. Clara felt her heart leap in her chest. There was something undeniably powerful about standing together. Look, Mom. Kyle tugged at her sleeve, eyes wide with excitement. They're here for us. Lily's small face was a mixture of fear and awe, but she squeezed her mother's hand tightly, letting Clara know she was right there, ready to stand by her side. The energy of the crowd shifted, possibilities swirling around them like leaves caught in a gust of wind. Jenkins' expression darkened further, his eyes darting wildly between the organizer and the new arrivals. Clara felt a surge of hope. Maybe this wasn't just about refusing to listen, perhaps this was the moment where everyone's voice collided. Enough! Mr. Jenkins shouted, but his voice wavered slightly as the noise grew louder. This is my company. You don't understand what it takes to run a business. But the crowd didn't relent. They shouted back, their voices rising in a crescendo that filled the air with determination. Clara caught snippets of what they were saying. Together we rise. For our children. We are the community. The loud words rolled over her. There was a wave of raw emotion she couldn't ignore. Then, an unexpected figure stepped forward from the crowd. It was the woman Clara had noticed earlier, the one who had tried to reach Jenkins. She stood before him, small but fierce, her hands trembling slightly. Mr. Jenkins, having wealth doesn't mean you own the community. We may not have your power or money, but we have the heart and drive to create change. We don't need to compete, we just need cooperation. Clara felt a spark ignite deep within her. This was the moment of truth. She had weathered storms before, faced challenges that felt insurmountable. But here, in this space of collective courage, she understood the power of standing up for what is right. We can help you, too. She shouted, surprising herself. The words hung in the air, a bridge between them. Jenkins turned to her, eyes flaring with irritation. And what do you think you know about business, little girl? I might not know your business, but I know my community. Clara shot back, feeling strength flow through her. I know how hard it is for families to make ends meet, how many kids go without food, how many struggles go unnoticed. You could make a real difference if you just listened. For a moment, everything felt suspended. The murmurs shifted, the crowd turned to her. Clara's heart pounded wildly, thrumming in her ears. It was terrifying yet exhilarating. Then, the unexpected happened. A man within the crowd stepped forward. She's right. I'm a single dad. I lost my job last year, and I'm not alone. We all have stories. But together, we can make it better. We want to work with you, Mr. Jenkins, if you would let us. The tension in the air morphed into something almost magical. Clara held her breath. Would Jenkins dismiss this, too? Would he realize the power of these voices rising, pushing against his walls of indifference? His fingers twitched at his sides, and for a brief moment, Clara thought she saw a flicker of vulnerability cross his face. But was it fear? Confusion? Or maybe, just maybe, the glimmer of realization? Then, in a turn of events that left Clara gasping, something crackled between them. Would this moment forge a new path, or would pride keep Jenkins shackled to his own misconceptions? Just give us a chance, Clara whispered, her voice steady yet hopeful. As silence enveloped them, the air thick with anticipations, Clara's heart raced with the urgency of a choice yet to be made. Would they finally break down the walls that divided them? Clara's breath hitched as she stood in that heavy silence, the weight of the moment pressing deeply upon her. The crowd buzzed with energy, but all Clara could see was Mr. Jenkins, his face scrunching into a mask of indecision. She desperately wanted him to see what she saw, that this was more than just a protest. It was hope. Think of your own children, Mr. Jenkins, she continued, her voice cutting through the tension. What kind of future do you want for them? A future built on divide, or one that thrives on community? At her words, some murmurs shifted in the crowd, as if everyone was drawn closer together. Clara could feel Kyle's grip tightening at her side. He was with her. And Lily, though scared, still stood bravely, her small face painted with determination. Finally, Jenkins opened his mouth, but the words that came out surprised everyone. What do you all want from me? It was as if he had been momentarily stripped of his armor, revealing a thread of vulnerability beneath. The woman who had stood forward earlier, steady and fierce, took a step closer. We want you to understand our struggles, Mr. Jenkins. We're not here to tear you down, we want to build something together. Together, Clara echoed softly. She could feel her heartbeat synchronizing with the murmur of the crowd, a wave of shared emotion flooding through them, connecting each person like threads of a brightly woven tapestry. Yet, even in that moment, Clara felt a pang of doubt gnawing at her heart. What if this was just a fleeting moment? What if Jenkins' mask slipped back on, locking them all out again? Mr. Jenkins rubbed the back of his neck in a gesture of confusion and exasperation. I have a reputation to uphold. Businesses don't survive on feelings or good intentions. But Clara could see the gears turning in his mind, the uncertainty lingering in his eyes. Maybe that's the problem, a woman spoke up from the back, her voice steady and confident. You're only looking at your bottom line, not the people who make your business possible. You're so far removed from us, and it's hurting both sides. A ripple of agreement swept through the crowd, voices rising again in a powerful chorus. Clara felt a sinking warmth in her chest. Could this be the beginning of something? But then, just as quickly, Clara's hope was shadowed by a harsh reality. What does that mean for me? Jenkins pressed, clearly struggling. What do you expect me to do? You don't have to have all the answers, she implored, her hands clasped together. Just start by listening. Hear our stories, meet us where we are. Let us build a plan, together. We can show you the changing lives around this community. The real need. Silence fell again as if the universe itself paused, waiting for Jenkins' next words. Clara could almost feel time suspended, hearts racing in anticipation. Finally, Jenkins sighed deeply, a weary sound. I need to think. His eyes darted between the crowd and Clara, and then, in an unexpected turn, he stepped back and said, "Let us set up a meeting. Tomorrow." Gasps of disbelief rippled through the crowd, and for a moment, Clara felt as if the ground might swallow her. Could this really be happening? As the crowd erupted in shouts of joy, Clara couldn't shake the feeling of urgency gnawing in her stomach. Tomorrow would it be enough time to bridge the chasm that had divided them for so long? As they began to disperse, Clara glanced down at her children. Kyle's face beamed, while Lily remained contemplative. "What happens now, Mom?" Kyle asked, excitement lacing his words. "We keep fighting," Clara replied, her voice stronger than she felt. "We're just getting started. We take this moment and push forward." But as they walked away, Clara's heart was heavy with worry. What if things didn't go as hoped? What if Jenkins backed out? A chill swept through her, and she couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning, daring and uncertain, teetering on the edge of everything they had fought for. Tomorrow, she thought, was crucial. But what lay ahead could change everything. Would they be ready to face that truth? The sun peeked through Clara's bedroom curtains, casting soft light upon the walls that bore stories of struggle and hope. Clara Thompson stood in front of her modest mirror, fingers trembling as she adjusted her hair. Today was the day. The meeting with Mr. Jenkins would either cement her hopes or shatter them anew. With a deep breath, she turned to her children, Jenna and Kyle, who were buzzing with excitement, their youthful exuberance a comforting reminder of why she fought so hard. "Are you ready, Mom?" Kyle's eager smile lit up the room. "I am," Clara replied, her voice steady. "But today is about more than just me. It's about all of us together." As they piled into the car, Clara's heart danced between fear and anticipation. Today represented not just a chance for her but a possibility for their entire community, a bridge to a better future. The drive felt different, the world outside her window awash with colors she had created and fought for. She wasn't just a cleaner anymore, she was a voice. When they arrived at the towering corporate building, Clara felt small but fierce. A wave of doubt threatened to wash over her once more, but she pushed it aside. Taking her children's hands, she walked through the glass doors, the echo of her heartbeat mingling with the bustle of office life around her. Moments later, they were ushered into a sleek conference room. Mr. Jenkins sat at the head of the table, his expression unreadable. Clara glanced at her kids, their eyes wide with hope. She had to do this not just for herself, but for every family struggling in silence. "Thank you for coming," Jenkins began, his voice firm but tinged with uncertainty. "I understand we have quite a few things to discuss." Clara's pulse quickened, the atmosphere charged with possibilities. She took a steadying breath and began. "Mr. Jenkins, the night of the fair, something happened. People came together in ways I had only dreamed of before. They stood up, including you, but I believe it can be more than just words. We can show you the impact your company can make when we unite." As she spoke, Clara harnessed every ounce of her passion, sharing stories of families that had faced hardships but found strength through community. She spoke boldly, yet tenderly, drawing on every heartthrob moment that led her here. Jenkins shifted, visibly shifting his perspective. "And you think I can actually do something based on that?" "Absolutely." Clara locked her gaze with his, "because if we can put empathy over profits, we can craft a narrative that enriches everyone, not just the bottom line. We need to understand each other if we want real change." Jenkins' brow furrowed, processing her words. Just then, Kyle piped up, his innocent voice slicing through the seriousness. "You can be a hero, Mr. Jenkins. My mom says we can all be heroes if we help people." The room fell silent. Clara's heart soared. Kyle was brave, just like she had taught him. She caught Jenkins' eye as a flicker of understanding passed between them. Would he embrace that challenge? After a moment, Jenkins leaned back in his chair, letting out a deep sigh. We need to have more conversations, gather more thoughts. I'll set up a community forum. We'll include those stories you shared and dig deeper. But I warn you, it won't be easy. Progress takes time. A collective breath of relief washed over the room. Clara smiled at her children, their joy palpable. We're ready to work. Together, she replied with certainty. As the meeting concluded, Clara felt a shift not just in Jenkins but in herself. She had transformed from a woman labeled as just a cleaner to a vital link between communities and corporations. They stepped out of the building, hands joined tightly, as the sunlight embraced them. "We did it, Mom!" Jenna squealed, jumping up and down. Clara pulled them close, her heart brimming with pride. "Yes, we did. And this is just the beginning." The world outside felt alive with possibility. Clara glanced back at the building, knowing they had finally started a conversation that mattered. A vision of cooperation and community blossoming in front of her eyes felt invigorating. In that moment, Clara knew change was possible, and they would dance through it together. And every step, every brushstroke of courage and creativity, would meld into a masterpiece of resilience and hope. Today marked a new beginning for Clara Thompson, the artist and the dreamer who became more than just a cleaner. "Let us go home and start on that mural," she declared, her heart full of joy. "Can we paint a unicorn?" Kyle's eyes lit up. "Only if we include a rainbow," Clara laughed, her heart soaring higher than ever. As they drove away, Clara felt ready to embrace everything that lay ahead, knowing that with each voice joining the chorus, their story of transformation was only just beginning. Now, as you too reflect on this inspiring journey, don't let the moment slip away. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Every click matters. Comment below with your reactions and feelings about this incredible conclusion. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second to share.